Welcome to another episode of the Oak and Rock Fatherhood. I'm your host, Zachary Small, joined by co-host Anthony Migliorino. What's up, Anthony? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing excellent, bro. How we doing today?
I'm living life as a free man, and that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Yes.
Living free, having control over where it is I'm going in life, and importantly, how that plays into what we talk about with fatherhood, with family, with parenting. What happens within the walls of the home are often going, unnoticed by the light. People don't really see what happens in the home, but what we do see is people who come out of these homes constantly with their head in the dirt, are constantly being told what to do, and then we come across them through our coaching, yourself, myself, and then collectively inside the fraternity of excellence, men looking to rebuild themselves, having to find their way back out of the system. And so let's talk about how you're living as a free man in this society with a family, how I'm living as a free man, how many of our associates and peers are living as free men, and how we can help others do the same.
Yeah, man. I mean, I do what the fuck I want.
I roll with gangs.
Nah, serious. It's something we try to express often, right? I say this all the time, man. We got to raise our kids to be free. And what better way that can be done is by living free yourself. And the word freedom is almost getting distorted in this day and age. You have so many people who blindly submit to authority, who will not even question what's best for them, or even question if they should question what they're being told to do or how they're being told to act. So I think it's an important, I would say, not even skill set, but mindset to instill in your kids. And a lot of fathers, they have a difficult time with this, right? If I tell another man that your kid should push back, right? He should question why you're telling him to do something. I think a lot of times it creates tension or stress because who are those kids to question me as an adult? This is what most fathers think. And the sad reality is your kids questioning you is good. It means they're thinking. They're actually trying to understand why you want them to do something or why you want them to behave a certain way. And I think we should embrace that. We should acknowledge it. We should allow it and we should help grow it, right? It's something we should be cultivating within our children to, I don't want to say push back, but to question things, to ask, why do you want me to do that, Dad? Right? Why is that so important to you? And a lot of times they're met with backlash, right? They're met with, don't question me. I'm the dad, I'm the adult. I just need you to follow what I'm saying. And a lot of that gets eliminated. A lot of that tension and stress is eliminated if as men we don't need the approval of our kids, right? What we're doing, we're actually leading them. We're showing them what it means to be a free man. And we have to offer that to our kids. We have to allow them to be free. We have to allow them to live how we want to live ourselves. So I think that if we're in a situation where we're not living free, if we're a man who lets other people control them, if you're a husband and you let your wife control you, if you let your boss control you, if you let your friends control you, when your kids show resistance, that is going to trigger you, man. That is going to be like, you know what? This little motherfucker isn't going to tell me what to do. Right? They're not going to push back because I'm bigger. I'm in charge now for once. So I think it it builds toxic relationships, man. It really does.
I think that's a great place to start with this. And I think there's something that is missed by many. So to start with questions and just questioning yourself and others questioning you, when we talk about freedom, you have to know where you stand and why you stand there. And so when kids question their parents, I don't think most of the pressure that comes back down is directly because of the parent not wanting to answer the question. I think they're stressed out, they're lacking patience, and there's this unexpected expectation placed upon parents to where everybody's watching you. And so if your kid questions you, you're somehow not a strong enough man to command obedience, or somehow you're less than. And so if they ask you a question, especially in public, it's not so much the kid's question as much as your fear of people watching you. How are you going to respond? And it's always met with this overwhelming violence, immediate and swift. Lock that up. You don't question me. Go do this. Spank in the butt because I said so. Immediate, because like, I'm in ball. Look at guys, I did my job. I put him in his place or her in her place. I showed them whack. All right, I'm the man, as you were. Whoa, whoa, whoa. If you're a free man, and you're looking to grow your family to be free individuals, you enjoy while they're growing. You enjoy the process of them looking to question where you're going so you can share your vision. Because in my home, I'm incredibly laid back and I'm aggressively attacking the things I want. But I personally am laid back with my family because I'm not at war with them. You know, the general who comes in, he's if you're beating your troops and the beatings continue till morale improves and you're slamming them, how are you supposed to go and take them to the fight against the enemy? They don't want to serve you. They don't want to work for you. They might work for each other because they're all getting beaten together, but not for you. Your job is to inspire. Free men, the best leaders, inspire those beneath them. They are dominant men, but not domineering men. They are men who will say, here's where we're going. Well, why? Because this, and this. And if we can do it this way, it's going to bring us there. Well, what about if we go that way and went through this little slip over here? That's a way better plan. I had never thought about that. I'm really glad you were able to imagine a world where leaders listen to the feedback of those that were leading and they could either say, no, we've tried that in the past. You didn't see that. And so let me explain to you. We tried going through there and, it blew us up. It didn't work out. Financially, it was a disaster. Or we haven't done that before. Let's try it. Let's go see what happens there. I'm not less of a leader because I didn't make that decision. Because it was your idea, it doesn't mean I'm less than. It means I'm leading somebody who's going to be a great leader themselves. I'm leading someone who's also looking at the bigger picture and looking to help everybody. And if you give them permission, like, hey, good job, sergeant, whatever, we're going to go that way and not this way. Everything's better. Lives are good. You save lives. You conduct the mission more efficiently. Taking that to the family, that's something as simple as getting to school, doing your sports, going around town and having a good time, taking care of your finances. This concept of leadership is not just stuck to business and the military. Family leadership is a thing. And free men want the individuals beneath him to be free. They want free minds, free access to speaking up against things. And so in those homes, in your home, Anthony, in my home, and again, in many of those that we roll with who are on this path, their children are thriving because their parents aren't afraid of the perception of the outside world. They're looking at the mirrors within, which are their children. That's your metric of success, seeing how they're performing. And so I think that you started on a great point with the questions, and especially, and to kind of bring this to a close, with youth sports at all. So I'm at the middle school level now, made my way up in the world, high school level. You see these coaches, they will bark at the kids, they will yell at the kids, they will not explain the vision to the kids. And then the kids don't know where to go because they're doing what they were told without knowing why they're doing it. And so guess what? There are moments in life where you can't script the entire way things are going to play out. Sometimes things get weird. There's a variable. How are you supposed to deal with this unknown if you don't know where you're supposed to be going? All you know how to do is follow the letter of the law. Sometimes things happen in the gray area. It's not black and white. And in the absence of orders, I want people who are capable of making a decision.
Yeah, man. I mean, in all honesty, right? If we are the coach, the success of the team, isn't that our responsibility? How well everybody operates together, and if it's not happening that way, and you're a coach who's blaming the players, it's a lack of responsibility. You're not free as a person, right? You have this tension in your mind saying that these kids aren't listening to me. They're not doing what I'm saying. So what do? You become reactive. You become hypersensitive to what the people you're leading, how they should be behaving, what they should be doing is affecting you. It's the same thing with our home. You were saying if we look at our house as a team and we're coaching them, right? We're coaching our kids, we're coaching our wife. If we're going to be the leader of our home, if we are not a free man, if we're letting all the little things distract us, if we're letting the misbehaviors or the misunderstandings, right? I'm going to rephrase it to being misunderstandings. Our kids don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They don't know how to go about it. So if we get upset with that, our mind is not free, right? We're letting negative emotions control our behavior. That's going to be a breakdown of the family. How is your family going to be strong? How are your kids going to know how to lead themselves if we're not displaying that with ourselves, right? If every little thing gets scrutinized or gets criticized, if every little obstacle defeats us as the leader of the home, our kids are going to follow the same pattern, right? They're going to let things that are insignificant control them. Their minds are not going to be free. They're going to waste time on fear, on worry, on situations they can't control because dad has shown them. And I think that relates to what we see in society, right? We have this society that everybody is afraid to live. People go and get jobs they hate. People go and follow career paths that others pay for them, mostly their parents. And they don't want to navigate and take a sharp turn off course because what happens if something goes wrong? What happens if my parents disapprove? What happens if I don't make it? So to me, that's where this all ties in. That's not being free as a child growing into an adult. And I think if we could give our kids more freedom in their childhood, we would see a completely different society. We would see kids that not only take more risks and risks that are calculated, right? Not just being careless, but risks where kids say, I believe in myself. My father instilled values in me for me to be confident, for me to go out and do hard things, for me to say, I don't want to be comfortable and do what everybody else is doing. I want to go find my own path. I want to be unique. I want to be weird. I want to be who I am, as opposed to following what everybody else does. And I think when you go down that path, you encourage creativity, you encourage curiosity. And that is something that's lacking from a lot of childhood interactions these days, right? Parents are not giving that to their kids.
Dude, it's almost it the way I've been looking at it. Dinosaurs are extinct, and every now you see a turtle, you see a shark, you see an alligator. You're like, that's the closest thing to like a dinosaur to us. Like those things are old, and they've not changed a wicked lot. When I look at kids who are free to think and act the way that they want to, it's like seeing that turtle, the alligator, like the shark. It's like a glimpse of what like right looks like true freedom. It's so fucking rare. It's so uncommon to see that sort of like, wow, what a special little thing we have here. This could be amazing. When we look back to order and chaos, we go back like way back. People talk about like how the Native Americans lived. Like they were on the land, the kids would go free, Mother Earth, all these great things. And then you look at the Industrial Revolution, you look at where Europeans came from, where it's much more structured, much more organized. And the contrast there of living free, you've got like, they've now been placed in the camp of the hippies. If you're a free person, like people call you a hippie,
I am a hippie.
this weird outlandish, like they think you'd be like the wild man, like you're like the Native Americans, you're the hippies, you're trying to be one with the land. And what does right look like? A squared away man. Sharp suit, always on time, always squared away, always, doing his jobs, arriving early, staying late. That's a good man. That really seems to fit a model that's really conducive to a great running factory. That's a great model for a business that operates. We're talking about being a free man, a free entity, not somebody who is operating optimally in a business focused environment. Instead of being judged on your output for your job, why not look at the output of your life? That's where we're looking here. I threw the definition of free up, not under the control or in the power of another, able to act or be done as one wishes. We talk about things that remind many of an anarchist sort of message, because we're saying, I don't want to operate within your financial institutions. I don't want to go work somewhere for $20 to leave there, get a little pen, maybe a small pin to put in my tie, and 50% of what my top 3 years for the rest of my life, if that. I don't want to go into a system that's designed to keep me sitting at a desk and not moving, or sit me to where a piece of paper is going to tell you my worth. I want to go out and do what it is I want to do. The value of a college degree, the value placed upon being quote unquote disciplined within the home, or catching discipline by your father, the value on these things is so fucking distorted that people have stopped questioning it. In what manner do we see college degrees? In what manner do we see, forcing kids to follow, the corporal punishment path, to forcing kids like do this and obey me and follow blindly? In what pipeline is not going to put out a free individual? How are you preparing your children to thrive in this environment that wants them inside a box and paying their taxes and paying their mortgage and then paying more taxes and then paying taxes on those taxes. How are you setting them up for freedom if that's the pipeline you're trying to put them into, where they're afraid to think outside the box, where they're afraid to go against the expectation? I said dominant versus domineering because you're forcing them to do this. They are under your control and power. And you think that as a parent, if you lose that, you're failing. But to me, that's the greatest gift you can give them. I'm here to guide you. I'm not here to control you. I'm here to show you how I live. I'm showing you, hey, here's where we get money to make us money. We're not going to go and buy shit. And I had shared with you, actually, we were part of the discussion. I thought debt and unsecured like credit card debt was normal. I thought it was just normal to carry that shit around. A lot of families did or do. And I realized, but if I do that, I have to pay those bills. And that's money that if I could just pay it off instead of paying it to just keep it even with the interest, if I get rid of that, that's money I could put towards this. Or I can go out there and do that. Or, there's a lot of ways to make the money work for you. But because we've normalized servitude, it's normal for us to serve those banks or those loans or whatever, the credit card companies. It's normal for us to serve the healthcare system. Oh, I've got to go. My back's blown out. How many old men, and I say old men, are 35, are 30, and they're old men. Oh, I hit my age. I'm broken. It's time to sit down and relax. Are you kidding me? You're inside. That's what they want you sick. They want you sick, fat, and nearly dead. They had a whole documentary in this. You know what free men do? I'm not living inside your sick care system. I'm not playing this stupid fucking game. I'm going to go eat those healthy foods. I'm going to stay the fuck away from your fast food. I'm going to go and work out. And I'm not going to think that at 30 years old, I'm meant to die and work my job until I fall into a grave, maybe getting 10 years of retirement in the process. That's not what free men do. Free men pull themselves out of the system and the institutions and the cycle far before their heart ever stops beating. Way before, as soon as you hear this podcast, this should be the opening for you. If you've never heard us speak before in this topic, pay the fuck attention, because what's about to follow is going to be a very interesting discussion. Because when I look at this, I see a lot of men serving their boss. I see a lot of men serving their spouse. And honestly, the only time they are in charge is when they're telling their kids what the fuck to do. And that puts those kids in the same cycle where they're serving their boss, serving their wife. And you know who's getting fat and rich and wealthy off of all this and they're living free? The motherfuckers controlling you. Yes. Don't put your children, don't put your spouse under the control of somebody else, because that's where you are. It's not normal to be the rat in this fucking race. You can get the fuck out. You can flip the board over and say, I'm not playing. There's a lot of different ways to go about that. There's a lot of, I would say, freelance / the side hustle is picking up. I think we are gaining ground in this fight because we're realizing we're going to make our money outside of your little institutions, and we're going to put that money to where I don't have to fucking work for you. You're the employer. You want to bring my talent to you. Pay me. Give me incentives to go there. I'm not taking your bullshit 3 days a year off vacation. I'm not taking your 2% raise. If you're not going to fucking give me a bonus, I want to go to that dude who does or who will. I'm going to go and I'm going to hop, because my job or my loyalty is not to my job. My loyalty is to myself and my family. And so when we can start making that normal, which I do think we're heading in that direction, that's when we're going to see truly free individuals. And we are as close to free as possible. One asshole is going to be like, well, you pay taxes, you're not free. You know what the fuck I mean, whoever you are splitting hairs there. You know what I mean. It's about getting as close to away from all this as possible. And it is possible. And it starts up here. It starts between the ears. You make the decision to, I'm not going to live like this anymore. And you start the process of just breaking the chains and the hooks that are in your soul. And you show your kids in the process, and you explain the vision and the mission to your spouse and your children in the process. And then they can be the people I was saying who can make decisions on their own lives to not fall into the same trap that you once were in.
That's awesome, man. I love when I can see you fucking riff for 10 minutes straight, get into it. But it's so true, brother. It really is, man. It's so true. And I think, when you see it, when you finally get a taste of it yourself, when you can be free. And I don't think it's always just about money. Obviously, money does help with freedom. And whoever thinks otherwise is probably poor, has no money. But I think it always comes back to mindset. What you were describing, the person who has good worth, who thinks they're valuable, that's ingrained in childhood, right? That is That is a process where you learn how to see yourself and identify who you are and accept yourself and say that I'm going to add value. I am valuable. When you're in a childhood and it's constant fear, threats, punishment, hitting, manipulation, or neglect, your parents are bribing you to do things, there's no value that's added, right? It's a parent who has failed to be free. So now they're going to dump all their toxic shit on you. And because they don't know how to feel good about themselves, they're going to continually push it on you, right? That this is the way, this is how it has to be. You just have to accept that you're stuck in the system. And instead of saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to think differently. I'm going to follow my own path. I'm going to be free. And I might not be as successful as I would like at first, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to keep pursuing what my goals are, what my dreams are, what I'm passionate about in life. And you don't have to waste time doing things that do not drive you or push you forward. It's a lie that we tell ourselves because we want to be comfortable. We want to fit in, right? Because our family wasn't structured around connection, around acceptance, around unconditional love. So now we're in the world and we're saying, what do I need to do to fit in? I don't care if society is dysfunctional. I don't care what the truth is. I don't care that they're inflating the currency and it's going to cost me more to live. I don't care that they take 30% of my income. But you know what I'm really mad at? I'm really mad that anybody can go in any bathroom, that men are competing and swimming against women in sports. That irritates the shit out of me, right? And I'm not saying those aren't real problems, but focus within, right? Start saying to yourself, how can I be free? How can I not let the distractions of the world affect me? What am I not doing in my own life? How am I not raising my kids so they can be free themselves, right? So they can have that mindset. And we get trapped. And we get trapped because we waste so much time focusing on bullshit, things that don't matter. And when we do that, that sets the stage for our home. Now, our home becomes full of this crap, of all this bullshit, of all this nonsense, of who's not listening to me, right? Who's behaving improperly, who's not cleaning up their toys. And it's all these who's not doing what needs to be done so I feel good. And your kids are not going to thrive under those conditions. They're not going to be free. They're not going to think to themselves, hey, I'm an awesome human being. I can add a lot of value to the world. I can go and do great things. They're going to think, my dad fucking hates me. My mom is always upset at me. I don't know how to do anything. Nobody's taking time to talk to me like a human being. Nobody's considering my feelings. And these are the thoughts they keep telling themselves over and over and over. Now they're trapped. They're not free. Not only are they enslaved to a fucked up society, they're enslaved to their mind, their own enslavement. They've created this fucking prison that they're in and they can't get out of it. So what do? They go and hang out with other slaves. They go and hang out with other people who are small minded, other people who fucking gossip, who talk about sports, who talk about bullshit that doesn't matter. And they never understand their full potential. They never understand how great life is, how fucking amazing it is to hear your parents say that they love you and they enjoy spending time with you. They miss out on that all because you decided not to live free.
You know, when you look at it, we have watched that play out big time. And I've never thought about it in those terms till you just said it. But you're absolutely correct when it comes to inside the fraternity, inside men's groups I've been a part of, inside groups I've been a part of, you see factions form, and I've never really fit into any of them. Because when there is a COVID faction, all they want to talk about is COVID. All I want to know is, what do I need to know to stay ahead of COVID? Like, what do I need to know to beat this, to kind of stay out of the spotlight and position my family? Like, I don't want to get sick. So what are the, all right, cool. It's not big of a deal if you make sure you have vitamin D and all these other things. All right, cool. We got some vitamins. That's the end of the discussion for me. I don't care about anything else. Crypto. Some guys make crypto a part of their identity. Again, that's a group I don't really fit in there. I'm fucking 100% pro crypto and a decentralized network. Stop fucking taking my money, government. But I don't make it my identity. It's just a tool to be used, just like the US dollar. It's a dollar. I don't care. I care to have dollars. I like making dollars, but I'm not Zach Small, the dollar guy. It's just fucking something that funds the things I want to do. And you're correct. The people who say, well, money doesn't buy happiness. Well, money fills a truck and truck drives my kid to baseball practice. And that's pretty cool. And so let's stop pretending that, we're trying to fill happiness by buying a prostitute, buying an exotic car, buying a vacation. That's not what I'm saying. All of those things are memories. All of those things can be a great time. But you use money to facilitate the lifestyle. I'm going to get chickens tomorrow. Those chickens aren't being bought with Twitter likes and Instagram shares. Okay? They're being bought with dollars. And those chickens are going to lay some eggs. They're going to give my kids some good memories of fun, just taking care of chickens, whatever. And our family's going to grow because we're going to have a bunch more feathered friends that are part of the club. We have men. So I don't fit in a lot of these groups because I use the thing, but I never sit and identify with the thing. I will say that I do identify with the group that is 100% focused on getting the fuck out of the loop. I am 100% identifying with that because that's how I see everything. To include, I'm talking about the chickens, but how many people do we know have spoken about the need to get out of the city? Spoken about, I hate where I live. It's dangerous. It's blah, blah, blah. All right, dude, what are you doing to move? I bring it up. You and I, we moved from the Northeast to the South. We went from a much busier lifestyle to a much more laid back lifestyle. Both of us thought that was more conducive to bringing the family together. And with the things going on the way they were, it was good to sort of get away from mass population areas. And so instead of tweeting every day about the need to do that, I fucking hustled. I fucking worked. I made moves in silence. We would have phone calls. I'm like, bro, we're doing appraisals. I got to fucking do a blog post. We got a podcast coming up. Like, what the fuck? I would offload and then I would talk to you. I talk to Phil and I'd be hitting you guys up like, hey, they're checking the house out. Hey, the house is on the market. None of that was on social media. None of that was shared through the blog. All of that was me doing the work that needed to be done because the world doesn't need to know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm a free man. I don't need to check in with anybody to be like, hey, look how cool I am. It's no, I'm doing me. I'm positioning my family. Afterwards, I'll talk to you guys about it. But in the process, that's not for you. There are a lot of guys who talk a lot about moving who've never moved. There's a lot of guys who've spoken a lot about being prepared and getting their family out of the fucking rat race who years later are still unprepared and in the rat race. I don't want to be seen as a dude who's doing the right thing. I want to be a dude who does the right thing. And I think when you don't make something else a part of your identity, but you say, me, I am first. I am putting me ahead of the title crypto, the title prepared, the title, peaceful parent. I am Zach. All these other things are extensions of me, but that is who the fuck takes first priority. And the same thing for you. You go through, and every family man, you place yourself first and say, hey, this is what the fuck lifestyle I want for me and my family. And you show them to do the same. And now a quick little caveat there. You don't do these things at the expense of your family. You show them and share with them. I'm not saying, hey guys, Anthony and I, we're going to fucking a world tour for Oak and Rock Fatherhood. See you later. I'll catch you when I get back. Good luck with baseball and cheerleading. That's not what I'm saying because that's at the expense of them. They've got to watch you going, oh, you're free, but you're going to come home to a family that's like, fuck you. You're not free. You're an asshole and you're selfish. So you can be free and destructively. You can be free in a positive way. So let's use common sense here. When you're looking to make yourself free and you're a family man, their freedom is of the utmost importance and priority to you. You make sure that your wife is not feeling that she's obligated to serve her job or identify with her politics or be beneath her parents or friends or whatever network. Like, babe, you're free to be you. I married you for you. You go out into the world and do your fucking thing because that's what these kids need and exactly what I need. Your sons and daughters, the same thing. I talk to my kids about everything I fucking do. We were talking for years before we moved about moving. We were talking, one of the things I'm doing for the next birthday is to setting them up with their own crypto wallets. We're going to start that and start talking about that. Nice. One of the things that we've been doing is I want to say their physical fitness programming, but it's everything. It's their sports, the training, the things that we do, from getting a trampoline and a pool to, weights to work out in the basement. I show them that it's your responsibility to take care of your body. It's not anybody else's to make sure you're doing the right thing. You know what you need to do. And here's how we're going to do it. And here's the tools that we have. And so instead of sitting down and playing video games all day, we want to be free to climb mountains and climb trees and run around outside. So we've got to make sure our bodies are healthy enough to do those things. And so freedom too is having the ability to be free. All of this ties together into the free man. It's all a part of who you are. So that's why when I look at this, oftentimes I'm hanging out with you, dude, because I'm like, everybody else is obsessed with one thing. And I'm like, no, I want all of the things together. How do I use them to be the best and most free self?
Yeah, man. I mean, we do have the hippie handbook coming out in a couple weeks.
A to Z hippie.
how to how to get the most out of dirt. No, man, it is. It's so true, brother. I think we overcomplicate things when our mind isn't free. We we treat those we love with the opposite of freedom, right? We imprison them, not just physically. Some parents do physically imprison their kids. They send them to their room, they put them in timeouts, but we imprison their minds to thinking a certain way because we're so fucking afraid to change. We're so afraid to get off the path. We're so afraid to take care of ourselves, to make ourselves priority. And a lot of dads struggle with their kids being in the wrong mindset because they're in the wrong mindset and they just don't see it. They point fingers and they put blame on everything else. And I think if we self-reflected, if we looked at ourselves more and we used that principle, right? As we grow stronger, as we become better, our kids become better, our family becomes better. And that's how we become free, right? You get freedom through progress. Freedom doesn't come by just sitting on a back porch doing nothing. Freedom comes from having ambition, right? Being motivated. We teach our kids to be motivated and go out in the world and get shit done. That's where freedom comes from. So if anybody's calling us hippies, not true. Everything that we've achieved, we've attained, it's from hard work, it's from dedication. And that's what's allowed us to be free in our mind and in every other area of our life.
One of the things before we wrap this one up is when you look at all the birds in the cage and they see the bird outside, they're flying. They're like, oh, there's something wrong with that bird. Understand this: when you do break away, people are going to give you a hard time. They're going to want the crabs in the bucket easy. But I'm thinking more birds, because once you're flying, dude, there's nowhere you can't go. There's no heights you can't reach, because now it's all on you. How high you go is dependent on how hard you want to work. That's it. But when you're in that cage, no matter how hard you work, you're in that cage. You're going to be the man, whomever it is that you have that has you in that little bubble. They're not going to let you out. You've got to do that without their permission. You've got to go forward and find that new job. You've got to go forward and find that new location. You've got to go forward and stop, feeding money into whatever service that's just a waste of your cash. Take it away and be like, hey, I'm not going to live like that. I know our neighbors are all, streaming 15 different services and they've got 7 different cars, but us, we're going to lock it down to 2 cars. We're going to get rid of the bullshit we don't watch, and we're going to put that money towards X, whatever that is for you. If that's killing debt so you can move, if that's getting a new place, if that's just lowering your living expenses so you can take a job that might pay less but gives you more freedom of time, and now you're with your family more. There's so many ways you can go about your version of freedom, but you're not going to need permission from anybody. You're not going to get permission from anybody else except for us. I promote that shit. Fuck them. Fuck the job. Fuck the government. Go do you. But everybody else, they're probably going to be pissed when you're outside the bubble that they're in, because your breaking away highlights their decision to stay. And so
the sad reality is that cage that you're in, you're the one shutting the door and you're the one locking it. It's nobody else.
and you're the only one that can open it.
Yep.
And so with that, if you're looking to open that cage and set yourself free, hit us in the DMs, drop a comment below, share this, or just start living the life and let us know once you start to crush it. This has been another episode on Oak and Rock Fatherhood. Stay well, live free.